The much ballyhooed final home game of Coach K's legendary career didn't exactly go as planned, with Duke losing in upset fashion to longtime rival UNC at Cameron Indoor Stadium, a defeat so humbling and anticlimactic that the 75-year-old icon felt compelled to apologize afterwards.
This isn't part of the program. This is impromptu by me. I'm sorry about this afternoon. Please, everyone be quiet. Let me just say, it's unacceptable.
In the grand scheme of things, however, that game will end up a mere footnote in the illustrious career of Mike Krzyzewski, who will step down as head coach of the Blue Devils after the NCAA tournament to cap a storied and indelible 42-year run at Duke. So how did Krzyzewski turn into Coach K? And where does he rank among college basketball's all-time greatest coaches? Let's break it down. Sit back, relax, and take this in. Before he was Coach K, Krzyzewski was just a kid from Chicago who loved to hoop, and whose talents on the hardwood, combined with the insistence of his parents, eventually led him to play at West Point in the late 60s under one of the most decorated college basketball coaches of all time, Bobby Knight. Even as a young man, his leadership skills were undeniable. Krzyzewski was named team captain in his senior year, and he promptly led Army to the National Invitational Tournament while earning a spot on the second All-NIT team. After graduating, duty called for Krzyzewski, who was commissioned into the role of second lieutenant before rising to the rank of captain. It was during his time in the military that Krzyzewski first tried his hand at coaching, working with service basketball teams, and by the time he was discharged from the Army in 1974, he knew what his calling was. That year, he was hired as an assistant coach at Indiana, under Knight, and Krzyzewski promptly helped the Hoosiers to a historic, undefeated regular season before they were unexpectedly bounced in the Elite Eight of the NCAA Division I tournament. Krzyzewski clearly made an impression in his first season of coaching, though. After just 1 year at Indiana, and at the age of 28, Krzyzewski was offered and accepted the head coaching job at West Point, his alma mater. Krzyzewski ultimately spent 5 seasons there as head coach, compiling a 73-59 record, and in 1978, shepherding Army to the National Invitational Tournament. The Cadets, by the way, haven't qualified for the NIT since. And then, in 1980, Krzyzewski made the career move that would ultimately change the course of his life and college basketball history when he accepted the head coaching position at Duke, a consistently solid program with a rich history, but one that ultimately had 0 national championships to its name. The Blue Devils hoped Krzyzewski could change that. The early returns, however, weren't promising. In Krzyzewski's first season, the Blue Devils finished a middling 17-13, ultimately settling for an NIT berth that yielded no hardware. It only got worse from there. For the next 2 years, Duke put up losing records and was barely an afterthought in the NCAA. Coming into the 1983-84 campaign, expectations were low for the Blue Devils, and some fans were even calling for Duke to replace Krzyzewski. Good thing Duke's brass resisted. That season, the unranked Blue Devils won each of their first 7 games and ultimately finished 24-10, good for 14th in the AP rankings, en route to their first NCAA tournament berth in years. For his efforts, Krzyzewski was named ACC Coach of the Year. And while nobody knew it at the time, that season marked the beginning of a dynasty. The Blue Devils made it back to the tournament the year after, then came 1 win shy of a national championship in 1986, following a remarkable 32-2 regular season. And their continuing success, combined with Krzyzewski's recruiting prowess and increasingly glowing reputation as a teacher, leader, and mentor, turned Duke into a powerhouse and a fixture at the NCAA tournament for decades. In 1991, after flirting with greatness for several years, the Blue Devils became national champions for the first time in their nearly century-long history. Had Krzyzewski called it quits then and there, he would have forever been a hero in Durham, North Carolina. Instead, though, he decided to turn himself into a bona fide icon, leading Duke to a second consecutive championship in 1992 and cementing his program as one of college basketball's true juggernauts. In fact, Coach K has facilitated so much success in his run at Duke that the Blue Devils have long been college basketball's go-to team to hate. Overall, in his 42 years at the helm, Krzyzewski has led Duke to 5 national championships, 15 ACC tournament championships, 12 Final Four appearances, and more than 1,100 wins. He's a 3-time Naismith College Coach of the Year, a 5-time ACC Coach of the Year, and was inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame back in 2006. Meanwhile, a whopping 68 players he coached at Duke were selected in the NBA draft, an average of more than 1.5 per year. Just look at this list of former players who came out to show their appreciation for Coach K at his final home game. Oh yeah, Coach K also has 5 Olympic gold medals on his resume, 3 of which he earned as head coach of Team USA, whom he steered to championships in 2008, 2012, and 2016. You know, just for funsies. Krzyzewski always preferred coaching amateurs to professionals, however, and over the years rejected multiple offers to coach in the NBA, most notably from the Boston Celtics in 1990 and the Los Angeles Lakers in 2004. So is he the greatest college coach in history? You could easily say yes. His 1,195 wins to date between Duke and Army represent the all-time record, while his lifetime 766 winning percentage is good for 10th among those coaches with at least 600 career wins. Meanwhile, only John Wooden, the legendary UCLA coach, has overseen more national championships than Coach K. The only other coaches even in the conversation, besides Wooden, are Adolph Rupp, Dean Smith, Roy Williams, and Krzyzewski's former coach and boss, Knight. And let's not forget that Coach K could still add another title before riding off into the sunset. Notwithstanding their disappointing loss to UNC, the Blue Devils are still a top 10 team in the country, the ACC tournament favorites, and a legitimate contender for this year's national championship. And ultimately, it's impossible to overstate how beloved and revered Coach K is within the Duke community. Consider this. The average ticket price for his final home game was more than $5,000, while the most expensive ticket went for $250,000 at auction. That's absolutely absurd. But then again, so is Coach K's legacy. What say you though? Is Coach K the greatest coach in college basketball history? And will he add another national championship to his resume before retiring? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. As always, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time.